Hey, what's up guys, Chaz here. If you're new to my channel, I basically teach you tips on photography so you can help better your photography. So today I'm going to go over a technique called local darkening and burning. This is another retouching technique. I went over one a couple of weeks ago, but that one was about frequency separation and using a mixer brush. This one is a little bit different. It's like dodging and burning, but instead you're using dodging and burning to even out the skin tones so you can get like a clear picture and bring out those details a little bit more. This one is a little bit more detailed than frequency separation, but it does give good results. All right, so we're gonna hop right in. Stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna start here. So this is so a couple of things are a little bit similar to the frequency separation. Like I'm going to add a gray layer so you can see a little bit more of the details and where the shadows are a little bit more and where the face needs to be lightened up. So I'm going to start from scratch so you can see how to set local dodge and burning up. So what you can do is you can add two curves adjustment layers. So you just go ahead and copy that one, and we're going to name this one burn, and then this top one's going to be dodge. So then you click here for the burn, and we're just going to pull this down a little bit. So like right there is good. And then you're going to invert this layer, and then we're going to go to the dodge, and then we're going to go up like that. So invert this one too, and I usually group these together, call this dodge and burn layer. And I showed you how to do this in the frequency separation, but I'm going to go ahead and show you on this one as well. So you go to solid color and you make sure it's all the way up here so you can get the white layer, and then on the B you want to do 50 or 80 80 80 and switch this blending mode to color. And if you'd like, you can add a curves adjustment layer, and what this will do is darken it a little bit and add more contrast, and so you can see these little differences in her skin a little bit more prominently. Before you do start all this, and maybe the model has a little bit more imperfections that are not normally on their face, you can go ahead and clean this up. So you kind of want to make sure that all the obvious things that shouldn't be on her face, any flyaways, are all taken away. So I've already done that one on this layer. So I'm going to turn my aid layer on. So we're going to bring this a little bit down so I can see the differences. All right. And so then zoom in so you can see the picture. And so we're going to go to the brush tool. And just to note, this can be done with the mouse, but it's a lot easier if you have a pen. I have a pen, so it'll be a little bit easier for me. So once you've selected your brush tool, you have your opacity set at 100, and the flow should be at 1%. So what I typically like to do is I like to dodge first. I like to take all the way the harsh dark spots first. And what I like to do is do generalized areas first, like these obvious areas that you can see. And one thing to know when you're doing this is that you kind of want to keep in the shadows, I would say. So for instance, this little area right here, you don't want to smooth all this over and just brush this. You want to bring the brush down enough to fit specifically in this little area of the shadow, because if you do it too big, you're basically just lighting up an area and not much is going to change. It's still going to be kind of messy and uneven because you're just lightening up the areas instead of just the dark spots that you want to target. So here I'm going to start doing a little bit generalized. And the difference between this and frequency separation is this will take up quite some time. It took me a couple of actually more than a couple of pictures to finally get this down, but it still takes a while. So I'll just go in here and basically lightening up all these darker spots. So I like to turn it off and on. So it'll back out a little bit, and then you can kind of see where the skin is starting to even out a little bit more. It's taking away some of those blemishes. And also, if you want, you can turn the color layer off and on, so that way you can see what it actually looks like in color versus black and white. See how much progress you've made. And this is it's kind of tedious. It takes a little time. You can literally spend hours on this, depending on how detailed you want to get with it. If it's for Instagram, you won't need to get too detailed with it. But for something like a maybe website or portfolio, or maybe one of your clients wants to use a headshot or something of that nature, you might want to just take a little bit more time and go deeper in here. But for the most part, you can just pretty much get the general spots, because most of these details won't even show up on Instagram. But again, it's all personal preference, and that is up to you. So most likely what I'll do is I'll speed this up, because we'll be here all day. Alright, so I'm gonna switch over to the burn tool a little bit so that way I can kind of see how much progress I'm making. So I've been just lightening her face a little bit more. And you can see it smooths it out there. So now I'm going to start darkening the overly light spots. Then, just like you're doing with the shadows, you want to stay within the overly lit spots. And you really want to take your time with this again, because you just scribble all over the place. You're basically going to have the same issues as you did before. Unevenness. And then it's gonna mess up all that hard work you've done. I'm just gonna drop this down just a little bit more so I can see. It's getting hard to see some of the light. And then again, you typically don't have to go this detailed in, especially if it's just for an Instagram post, but for the sake of this tutorial, I'll do a little bit. And you want to be aware how much you're doing one side. Like, don't get stuck on one side of the shot, and then you have like a really smooth face and you spent 30, 40 minutes on it, and then the other side is just uneven. You really want to make sure that you're doing both sides equally even, and remember to kind of keep taking a look at turning off the aid when you need to, when you see more clear. I know sometimes you look at something for too long and you kind of lose track. So I'm going to take this A layer and see how much work we've done so far. Oops, sorry. So then you can kind of see a bit more face, a little bit more even. The uneven skin tones have been lightened and darkened to make one unison look. So I'm going to go in here just a little bit more and kind of clean up some spots that I feel like I've missed. And I would definitely recommend finding a shortcut for your PC or your Mac on how you can quickly change the size of this brush, because you'll definitely be doing a lot of it. And whatever you can do to add ease to the photo and the actions you're taking, definitely set it up. It definitely helps than rather just going up and down, making the brush bigger and smaller. You want to make it as easy as possible on yourself. But then the further I go in here, the more I start to like switch back and forth. Like before, I know I started, I focused primarily on dodging and lightening all those dark areas. But once you do the main areas and the obvious spots, and when you start getting a little bit more, you really start to see a little bit more random light changes and color changes in the skin. But this is definitely a good way to keep all those details in. Allows you to keep more of the texture. Alright, let's see what we have so far. Take the 8 off. So that's after, before, after, before, after. You can really spend a good amount of time with this. I'm probably going to stop right here for the tutorial because that will end up spending an hour or two on here. But that's it. That's how you local dodge and burn using curve adjustment layers. After this, you can use your global, what's called global dodging burning is, shading in the darker areas and bringing the picture back to life, basically pushing it up, pushing out the shadows and bringing out more of the light on their face. So you can put a little bit more roundness on the picture because sometimes this will flatten it out a little bit. But this does definitely keep a lot of details in the face, and I definitely recommend it for portraits that are up close and anything that you'll definitely see a lot of texture on. Alright, if you enjoyed this video and you feel like it helped you, give it a thumbs up. It definitely helps the channel grow. That way I can continue to make videos like this for you. Alright, that's it. Thank you for watching.